The Scarecrow went up the first week of April. I remember because the ground was still too wet to plant. But my neighbor Harlan said it was bad luck to wait. Said the crows were already gathering in the oaks behind the south field. Said if I didn't put something out to scare them, I'd lose half my corn before it even broke the soil. I didn't believe in luck, but I believed in Harlan. He'd been farming that valley for 40 years, and his father before him, and his grandfather before that. So I built the Scarecrow, old clothes, burlap sack for a head, straw stuffed up the sleeves and down the legs, a wooden post driven into the earth at the edge of the north field, facing south, so it could watch over the rows. I painted a face on the burlap with black acrylic, 2 circles for eyes, a triangle for a nose, a curved line for a mouth. Happy, friendly, the kind of face that wouldn't scare a child, let alone a crow. Harlan came by to look at it. He stood at the edge of the field with his hands in his pockets, staring at the Scarecrow for a long time without speaking. Then he said, "You shouldn't have given it a face." I asked why. He said, "Because now it knows what you look like." I laughed. He didn't. He walked back to his truck and drove away without saying goodbye. I didn't think much of it. Old farmers are superstitious. They see omens in weather patterns and signs in the way the corn bends. I was a writer. I worked from home. I needed the quiet and the space, not the folklore. The first week was fine. The Scarecrow stood in the field. The crows stayed away. I wrote. I drank coffee. I watched the sun set over the hills and felt like I'd finally found the life I'd been looking for. Then the Scarecrow started moving. Not walking, not running, just different. I'd look out the kitchen window in the morning, and its head would be tilted to the left. In the afternoon, it would be tilted to the right. One day, its arms were straight out. The next, they were down at its sides. I told myself it was the wind. I told myself the post was settling. I told myself I was imagining things, but the face changed too. The painted smile got wider, the eyes got narrower. The happy, friendly expression I'd painted with such care had become something else. Something mean, something watching. I went out to the field on the 10th day. I stood in front of the Scarecrow and looked at it up close. The burlap was wet. Not from rain, there hadn't been rain in a week. It was wet from the inside, like the straw inside was sweating. I touched the fabric. It was warm. Warm in a cold morning, warm like skin. I pulled out my pocket knife and cut a small slit in the burlap, just above the heart. Straw spilled out. Normal. Dry. But underneath the straw there was something else. Something dark. Something that moved. I didn't look closer. I walked back to the house and closed the blinds. I didn't go outside again that day. That night, I woke up at 3 in the morning because something was tapping on my bedroom window. Tap, tap, tap. 3 slow knocks, then silence. I lay in bed frozen, listening. The tapping came again. Tap, tap, tap. I pulled back the curtain. The Scarecrow was standing outside my window, not at the edge of the field, not 100 yards away. Right out, its burlap face was pressed against the glass, the black paint of its eyes staring straight at me. Its smile was wider than I'd painted it, much wider. It curled up past where the burlap ended, disappearing into the folds of the sack. I screamed. I fell out of bed. By the time I got back to the window, the Scarecrow was gone. I looked out at the field. The post was empty. No Scarecrow. No shadow. Just the dark rose of earth and the pale light of the moon. I called Harlan. It was 3 in the morning, but he answered on the first ring. "It moved," I said. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Did you look at its face?" "Yes." "Then it knows you. It knows your name. It knows your shape. It knows the sound of your heartbeat, and it won't stop." I asked him what to do. He said, "You can't kill it. It's not alive. You can't burn it. The fire will just make it angry. You can't bury it. It'll dig itself up. The only thing you can do is give it what it wants. What does it want?" He didn't answer. He hung up. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I sat in the living room with all the lights on, watching the windows, waiting for the Scarecrow to come back. It didn't. At dawn, I looked out at the field. The Scarecrow was back on its post. Its arms were crossed over its chest. Its face was blank. No smile. No eyes. Just the burlap, wet and dark. I packed a bag. I got in my car. I drove to the nearest town and checked into a motel. I stayed there for 3 days. On the 4th day, I went back to the farmhouse. The Scarecrow was gone. The post was empty. There were footprints in the mud leading from the post to my front door. They weren't my footprints. They were too large, too deep, and they had too many toes. I followed them to the door. The door was unlocked. I always lock my doors. I stepped inside. The house smelled like dirt, like wet straw, like something that had been rotting in the sun. I walked through the living room. Everything was in its place. The kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom, everything normal. Then I opened the closet. The Scarecrow was inside, hanging from the rod where my shirts used to be. Its burlap face was turned toward me. Its smile was back. Its eyes were open, and one of its arms, the right arm, was raised, pointing at me. I slammed the closet door. I ran out of the house. I didn't go back. I've been living in the motel for 2 weeks now. I've called real estate agents. I've tried to sell the farmhouse. No one wants it. They say the land is cursed. They say the previous owner disappeared. They say his wife found his clothes in the field, arranged like a scarecrow, with a note pinned to the chest that said, "I'm watching now." I don't know what to do. The Scarecrow isn't in the house anymore. I know because I had a friend check, but it's not on the post either. It's gone, disappeared. But last night I woke up because something was tapping on my motel window. Tap, tap. I didn't look. I pulled the blanket over my head and stayed still until morning. When I finally looked, there was nothing outside, just the parking lot and the vending machine and the pale light of the street lamp. But there was a handprint on the glass. Too large, too many fingers. And the fingers were pointing inside. I'm moving again. Farther this time. Another state. Another name. I'm not going to farm. I'm not going to live anywhere with fields or crows or old farmers who know the stories. I'm going to live in a city, in a high-rise, on the 20th floor, where nothing can climb up to my window. But I know it's not about the window, it's about the face. I gave it my face. I painted it with my own hands, and now it wears that face everywhere it goes. Looking for me, learning my habits, getting closer. This morning I found a piece of straw on my pillow. Just one, small and dry and yellow. I don't know how it got there. My windows were closed. My door was locked. The maid hadn't come yet. I held the straw up to the light. It wasn't straw. It was hair. Gray and brittle, like the hair of an old man. Like the hair of someone who had been standing in a field for a very long time. I dropped it. I'm leaving this motel today. I'm leaving this town. I'm leaving every place I've ever been, but I know I can't leave fast enough. Because every time I close my eyes, I see it, standing at the edge of a field, pointing at me, smiling that smile that I painted. That isn't mine anymore. Don't build a scarecrow. Don't give it a face. And if you see one in a field, don't look at it too long. It might look back, and once it does, it never looks away.